difficult story to comprehend. Now, Mejja has always been very, very tight-lipped when it comes to matters his family. And I mean both his nuclear families and his extended family, his brothers, sisters, parents, all of that. He's been very tight-lipped about all of it. But now he's decided to tell us a bit of information about his brothers, right? So he has two younger brothers, and one of these two brothers actually struggles with alcoholism. And it's one of those deep state covered type of stories where no one really wants to talk about it, no one wants it out. But on Wednesday, he actually did come out and tell us a few things. He said he's trying to deal with it. And this was in reference to his brother. He continued to say that I have lived with my mom and my grandmother who helped take care of us, my brothers and I, before my mom was stable. My mom had never told me where she came from, so hiyo story inakuanga sensitive kusitakangi kuingilia sana. I think my mom felt that that kind of information was heavy for a young kid like me to bear in the process. So, continue to say that there was a lot of pressure that came in for his brother when he started drinking so much. I was hustling and taking care of him and had to make sure he was okay. It was a lot. Right now, amepunguza, but through amepunguza, he's learned not to judge people struggling with alcoholism. He's now able to control his drinking. He can now hold a steady job, and he doesn't have as many relapses as he used to have before. He continued to mention that alcoholism is actually a disease. If you will cut them off, you are endangering them. Be patient. And I feel like some of these things, once we give a title to them, then a lot of people start to understand that, oh yeah, this is a problem. Because you can just say, we're nakwanga tu mlevi. But it really is alcoholism. This is a person who's struggling. You know, you've heard of people who can't go a day without drinking. There are others who can't operate generally without drinking. They have to have at least a sip of alcohol. And we've seen so many presenters even who've succumbed to such things. There was a very popular, I will not mention his name because I do not know whether that's public information or at least it's information that should be put out in the public. But there was a very, very famous radio presenter. He had those voices, you know, those voices that are so commanding and beautiful, but he started drinking. It started becoming a thing where he cannot actually come to work without drinking. And then he would now go on like some stupors and he would relapse and he would keep drinking. He started missing out on work, and that's how he ended up now being put in the back burner and eventually losing his job altogether. We've heard these stories, especially in the media industry and the entertainment industry, because that's all we're surrounded by. I know we always tell you that on Friday we're going out for a good time, but some people actually cannot control the good time. People end up being, I remember the other day, actually, as we were leaving the club, there's this one girl who just got into someone's car. And I looked at her, I was on the phone, I was like, girl, are you okay? He's like, no, I don't know these guys, but I'm like going into their car. We're just gonna go to their house. They have a party, they have more alcohol. I'm like, but you don't know them. You just what? You're just gonna get into these random people's car, get out of the car and call an Uber. And these guys are like, wacha kwa mtiaji, ni nini, wacha na yesi anataka kuingia na sisi tuacha tuende na yeye. I'm like, no. So I asked her, please call an Uber. She's like, actually, my Uber is outside. I'm like, so why were you getting into these drunk people's car? Where are you going with these drunk people? And these are bad decisions that can be made due to alcoholism, but we never speak about these things. We always just see our celebrity over there drunk, looking really, really like they're not in a position to make decisions. But we're like, no, they know this, they have their friends. I've seen so many horrible things happening at nightclubs because someone is too drunk and too impaled to make conscious decisions or even to stop bad things from happening to them. So when you start to think about alcoholism in those lights, then we can actually be clear about the fact that alcohol is fun. It's a good thing to enjoy yourself, one or two. But some people do not have control over how much they drink. When they drink, people will steal from you just to go and buy some alcohol. These are real issues within our families, and it can be shameful. Like, really having to go and pick someone up from the club because they drank all their money, they bought drinks for their friends, and now the club has refused to let them go because they haven't settled their bill, and now you're coming to bail them out. Having someone being taken to jail every so often because they got too drunk and they didn't have money, and the people actually put them in jail because they didn't pay, they didn't get their money. Like, these are real issues. They are really, really dark times in families, and people try and keep them tight-lipped, but we need to start talking about them so others can understand that it's not just us. It's not just our son. It's not just our daughter who's going through this. A lot more people are going through this. And start to create forums where people can actually have conversations and try and settle these issues, because they can be managed if people speak about them.
Yes. I think we should start viewing it, as you said, as a disease. Alcoholism is a disease. And there is a cure. However, we also need to realize that it's up to the person themselves to make a conscious decision. Do I want to get better? Do I want to stop this? And I'll give an example. I think I've spoken about my ex. If you know who my ex is, just go and beat him. Anyway, I had this ex who was a functional alcoholic, and it used to work for him because he can still go to work, he can still do what he needs to do. However, other aspects of his life were falling apart because you're always drinking. Your salary, kanaisha, you know, by the 5th, wengine on a receive yao, wewe by the 6th you're broke. Because why? Because, you know, you decided to go out with your friends, you decided to buy drinks for your friends, you decided to binge out, and now you're poor. You have a good job, but you're always borrowing money. You're always asking somebody to cover this for you, to do this for you. And it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I will not be a nurse for this person. So you need to make a decision. Do you want to go to get better? Do you want to go to rehab? Do you want to seek help? But they didn't want to. And I was not in a position to force them. I am not your mother. I am not your relative. I am a person you met off the internet and decided to fall in love with. So, you know, it's up to that person to make a decision. But I really want to get better. But if they do make the decision, stand by them. Don't be the person who says, you've slipped up, you made a mistake, you're done for. It's just be there. If you commit to this journey, we're going to get better. We are going to get better. Be with them till the end. That's all I can say. If
you know anyone who's struggling with alcoholism, please just reach out to them and try and help wherever you can. It's something as basic as just checking up on them. Hey, are you okay? Maybe they're going through stuff and they don't know how to deal and they're resorting to alcohol. So try and help them figure it out. And if you can't, try and consult people who are specialized in this.